Well, we're back out here in the garage with a catastrophe of was once a garage. There is stuff everywhere, tripping over the transmission, shop vac, service cart, engine one, engine two, engine stand, stupid Chevy motor that I don't need. Pelican's still up on jack stands. I just went out and grabbed a couple more storage totes to try and keep this a little more organized. I can't use my truck because I'm still burning a bunch of the trees that don't like to burn. Chaos, 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 chaos over here. I just started filming the next video on the Sportster chopper installment as well. That should be coming up soon. I'm messing around with the primary and the clutch on that. I've never done an Evo clutch. This is the newest bike that I've ever, well, not ever worked on, but the newest major trans primary job. I was correct on that one, the sporty clutch discs. I got the cable adjusted, everything set up on that. But the motor, well, not the motor, but the transmission, when you pull the clutch in, the pushrod adjuster and the ramp plate separated like it's supposed to, wheel wouldn't spin. I'm like, all right, clutch discs are locked up from sitting. 100% correct on that, which was good. Only problem is, Evos run that sporty diaphragm style, that little wafer washer deal. I don't have the tool to compress that, so closest thing I had was some 3-inch exhaust tube laying around. Tried that. I just didn't go crazy on it. I gave it about 10 minutes. I'd like to get the actual tool. I don't own an Evo Sportster, but on any of the Harley stuff, I like being able to have all of that, and I will be doing all the maintenance on that bike moving forward. Plus, I got a buddy building another Evo Sporty chopper. It wouldn't hurt to have the clutch tool, so that's on order. Until then, that bike is on pause. I also got some brake line fittings and stupid odds and ends. Trying to get all the hard mechanicals done first beforehand. So now we're back in the garage. I don't know when that sporty video is coming out, but I'll kind of go through the primary stuff at some point. Here's where I'm at. Ordered a new bearing set for this 5.0 motor. This was the good 302 that everything actually looked pretty okay on. Needed a way to keep everything organized. My normal engine assembly table over there is completely filled with junk and crap, significantly overwhelming myself with the amount of stuff that I have since I just disassembled 2 motors, odds and ends that I don't really want to get rid of yet until this thing's running and driving. So that's where we're at. I got an MSD box over there, some electrical stuff, all sorts of weird miscellaneous, whatever. Start doing hot rod stuff, collecting parts, hoarding parts, whatever you want to call it. It's a mess. I got a million boxes. I could probably condense all into one, but everything makes sense in my DD brain right now. So everything is kind of sitting where it's at. Don't want to move it because if I start cleaning, then I'm going to lose things and not be able to find it when I actually need it. If that bothers you, watch another channel. I function in chaos regularly. So what I'm going to do, new goal after thinking about it and ordering parts. I ordered a gasket and bearing set for this 5.0 motor. For tonight, blast this completely apart down to bare block. I'll probably leave the flywheel on just so the block is bolted in on the engine stand. Flywheel, but except for that, get everything else out. Actually, the flywheel can come off the crank. That's fine too. Stands up upright better if I leave the flywheel on. So blast this apart, take the pistons out, take the rods out. Rods are going to stay on the pistons since Ford use a heat press pin rather. We'll blast this Ford motor apart. Put everything into this fancy Home Depot storage tote. Normally I'm a Menards guy personally, but this was on the way of my errands today. So get this crank out, get the mains out, give that a more thorough once over than I did yesterday when I pulled one rod, one main. Throw everything in this bin, and then here's where it gets kind of goofy. I've been playing around with some of the piston coatings from Cerakote and a couple other companies. The high temp piston crown coatings a couple times on some 2-stroke applications. I have not had a chance to do it. Positive if I'm going to do this yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards using this new 5.0 stock bore, stock pistons. It's old, it's kind of worn out. I'm going to hone it, fresh set of rings, and send it down the road, but I am going to re-bearing the thing. So new bearings, new gaskets, sealed, re-rung, re-bearinged. Slap it all back together. I think, as of right now, my gut is telling me, because I have enough material sitting at the shop, I think I'm actually going to do a piston crown coating on this one as well, because I'm very curious to see how that's going to hold up over time. Right now, goal, blast the motor apart, mask everything off on the pistons. I have the microfilm coating, so if you order new pistons from Summit or anybody else, a lot of those pistons have the micro slick or a black film coating on the outside of the piston. that goes into the bore and rubs against, well, it doesn't technically rub against the cylinder wall, but goes on the cylinder walls. Have that too. I've used that as well, not on any actual vehicle things. I'm less concerned about the oiling components of that, but I would really like to try and play with some of the ceramic coating on the inside of the chamber of the head and the crown of the piston. From all of my research and using it a couple times, it tends to basically be like a mirror and repel heat into a designated area, which is kind of exactly what I want. It basically bounces heat off the crown of the piston back up into the chamber. So if I were to coat the chamber and the piston, all of the heat will be designated and concentrated into the squish point, which is exactly what you want on a performance motor. I might try it and see what I can get away with in terms of timing and all sorts of stupid stuff and do a little bit of R&D of my own. Could work, might not, don't really care. That's tentatively where I'm at. I think the bearings are coming for this motor in the next day or two. If they're here tomorrow, it might kind of throw a wrench in my plans of taking a couple more days. Still waiting on the drive shaft. My only timeline is I want everything in the car installed, ready to turnkey fire when I get the drive shaft. Set a goal for myself. I don't know if I'm going to reach it. If it takes me a little longer, it's really not the end of the world, since we're not, well, at least I'm not anticipating snow anytime soon or freezing cold weathers yet. We'll see. So let me get you guys set up. I'm going to blast this motor apart. It'll probably be a quick little montage time-lapse dealio and go from there, since there's tons of 302 teardown videos that I've already posted and I'm getting bored with 302s. So rod bearings, not being careful. I'm not taking my time on any of this disassembly because I don't really care. You want to keep everything in order typically, but on Ford stuff, everything is labeled super nice and convenient for you, for dummies like me to go through and rip things apart without thinking. Doing a quick inspection on it. Oh, the cap stayed on this one. Quick inspection. I'm not going too crazy with these yet. If I can get the pistons all the way out, I might try and do that right now too. Ford does stamp number into each of their rod caps as well as the rod, so that makes it a little bit easier. But I'll lay these all out just like I take them out, because it makes my life a little bit easier. If I do end up going, as I mentioned, the route of doing some ceramic coating on here, I will have to double check these a little bit more. Bearings really don't look so bad. I'm not doing any thorough cleanup and hard inspection on these because I don't really have to, since it's all getting replaced. But in terms of wear and tear, this really doesn't look that bad. So all I'm doing when I pull these out of the motor is grabbing the nuts that I just took off, setting them back together and laying everything out. I'll show you guys that in a minute. can see the cylinders. I definitely have some discoloration at the bottom. I'm guessing this thing's probably been sitting for quite a while out of the car, but you can see how mirrory those are. I can see a reflection on the bottom of the cylinder here going out. There's still oil and everything else. I haven't cleaned anything yet. Ton of zinc additive, but very reflective. You can see my hand in there. That's not a good bore. This could and probably should. I'll flip it over and take a better look at the top. But my guess would be that this should probably get punched out at least 10 over. Not in the plans right now. I don't see any major scoring yet, but we'll get it all cleaned up. Might be a tomorrow video, but we'll get it all cleaned up, take a better look, see what happens when I throw a hone in there. Try and clean that up a little bit, throw some fresh rings at it, and call her good. Went kind of out of order here. I did lose one rod bearing that I'm going to have to look for that fell on the ground when I was taking all this apart. Just one. It's somewhere down on the floor or in the oil on the tray underneath this. I did pull the cam out of order, so now I got to go through and yank out the spider gear and the lifters. If you are taking one of these apart and yanking the spider gear or spider bracket, do not lose these. If you can try and get these, they're shorter than most of the standard hardware store ones. We'll always try and keep these ones together. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to leave this right in the block. Onto the lifters. I am going to lay out a section on the workbench here for the lifters and just lay them out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as they are on the front of the motor. Let me clear off some bench space that I don't have and make this work. Go ahead and yell at me all you want. Some of these are just stuck with oil and grime. Using channel locks, I'm not grabbing down on them. I'm just rotating them over to the flat side. It is nice having hydraulics where they have the little flats because I'm on a friggin' roll. When you have the flaps on here, it gives you a nice little grab point. Like I said, I'm going to go through, clean up the rest of this crap on this block, get it nice and open, because this, right now, the way these are coming out is not what you want. You want them to slide in and out, super easy. Any resistance like this is asking for problems. Oh my God, look at these chunks of oil residue. I feel much better about disassembling this block and giving it a quick once over. Just looking at everything now. Like I said, it's not trashed by any means. Nothing stands out as being ruined, but really dirty. Really, really dirty. If you are going to have a car or vehicle or engine that's apart for a longer time, I would strongly recommend having a much more organized system than my current blast it apart, let it sit for a day, and slap it back together. Got the parts ordered. They're on the way. I think they're actually getting delivered tomorrow. I just don't think I'll have time to play with this. Got some social functions to attend to, which, if you know anything about me, are very low on my priority list, but don't always get to have a say in that. I know they're catching a little ridge, but the ridge that they're catching on the way out is way higher up in the bore. The lifter's not going to actually move that far. So just a little bit of wear and crap from sitting. I'll get a little brake hone in here. Zip, zip, zip all the way across these real quick. Rehone the cylinders. Throw a fresh stone on there. Get rid of the glossy mirrored glaze. New rings, new bearings. Pretty much everything will come through. I'm going to soak these lifters in some solvent, clean them all out, and then soak them in oil until they're ready to get prepped or dropped back in the motor. But there you have it. That's a Bear 302 block. Not too bad for messing around in the garage. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 oil pan studs I gotta get out. These 3 should be okay. Got a torch here and some good vice grips. I think I should be able to get those out. We'll find out. One sunk. That one's going to fight me a little bit, but it actually looks like it's got a pretty good dimple in there. So if I got to drill one of these three out, not the end of the world. Other than that, block's roughly painted, far from perfect, whatever, don't really care. I just wanted it a little bit cleaner than usual. Still got to paint the engine bay before the motor goes back in. I didn't do that the first time. Now I just want it all to be nice and clean going in. Not even because I care what it looks like. I want to be able to see what's leaking and have an easier time diagnosing. Blocks are super sharp. I just sliced open my thumb. Careful with those with all the machined edges plus wear and oil. That was brief, just kind of grazed it and it took a chunk of skin off. So careful with those. Other than that, have fun, tear it down, figure it out. It's a motor, rods, bearings, parts, nuts, bolts, not too bad. Here's my organizational system for super high quality engine builds. Paper towels laid down, I got all the lifters here. Everything is filthy, covered in oil, grime, all sorts of crap. Gonna go through, I will disassemble all the lifters, clean all that out. Make sure there's no crap sitting in there from God knows how long of sitting on a bare block. And on the actual fancy Home Depot storage tote, there is no light here, but I got them laid out here. This is the front, it goes all the way to the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over here. Mains are laid out the same way over there. But yeah, I just got oil film everywhere on this. It's a giant mess. I cannot wait to get one of these motors back together so I can walk in here. I have acquired way too much stuff for this stupid car project. I like having an organized garage most of the time. It's not always perfect, and in the middle of a job it gets destroyed, but right now is absolute chaos, and I can't get to anything, I can't do anything. I'm tripping over stuff everywhere I go. Still need to find the one rod bolt that I lost. It's probably in the cracked foundation somewhere. Whatever, we'll figure that out later. But that's where we're at tonight. Motor's torn down. Expect a rebuild video coming here soon. And an update on the ceramic coating on the piston crowns. Depending on what the timeline looks like. If the bearings all get here, I don't know if I'm gonna have the patience to wait. We'll see. We'll see. I live in a fake dream world where I have time to do all these things and I want everything done a certain way. And then life actually happens and I'm in a rush and want this done and my garage back. So who knows? Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.